Sit down. We very surreptitiously stuck a mic onto your shoulders. I'm not sure we've ever necessarily had to do an interview like this.
Is this a first?
I think it might be.
Oh, this is so amazing because my messages are... I'm so passionate about what I do and I've worked so hard to get these messages out there. So thank you, because this is just going to empower so many women out there.
Because this is actually what you wanted to do. You wanted to get this conversation started and do the interview exactly as you are.
Yes, because this is what I'm about. It's about being your authentic self and owning your scars. The beauty in these scars. They saved my life. Why would I want to hide them? Why?
Yeah.
You're incredibly passionate about it. You've got this verve for life. I was saying to Kat earlier, you've got these sparkling eyes full of joy.
Yeah.
So they've got the London Marathon coming up.
Yeah.
How is it running topless in the London Marathon? Firstly, it's a full-on physical challenge.
Done it before, look.
But what's the reaction that you get from people when they suddenly realise that you're running topless?
Oh, it's so mixed. Empowerment, tears of joy. There were women crying in like the whole joy and empowerment. It was just phenomenal. The people last year were just mad. It was like magic. And they were cheering and there was no pity there, nothing. Because you can't pity someone running a marathon, can you?
No. Well, isn't that one of the reasons why you wanted to do it as well?
Yeah.
That very reason that you just said was so often when people are diagnosed, when it's that moment where you have to tell your friends or your family, and everybody feels so sad and upset. And it's about taking that power back a little bit, I think.
Totally about that.
Yeah.
And that's what I do it for. So when I was diagnosed in 2022, when I was diagnosed originally, before you tell anybody, it's like a shock. But as soon as you tell people, you're taking them on this real dark journey. You feel guilty taking your family with you. You've caused this, in effect. You feel like that. And then everybody looks at you different. They tilt their head, and it's coming from a lovely place, but you just feel like you're pitied, and I hated that pity.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be pitied. You're losing your femininity, I lost my breasts. Oh, it was just... That's the worst part for me. So I thought, let's turn that around. Let's turn that narrative around and let's show us the strength, the power, the resilience, the discipline, the determination of a marathon runner with the scars on shore. And then you're kind of challenging and arguing the perception of the pity.
Yes, yeah. It's so interesting her saying that, actually, because we've got Trisha on later as well, and she says exactly the same thing. It's like, you can't be afraid of living life.
No, you can't, and that's what I wanted to show. So originally, I couldn't see me.
No.
I couldn't see this. I could see it in pictures, and there's lots of brave women before me showing mastectomies, but I couldn't see anyone living a life, having fun, becoming and evolving something else. So I never look back at how I was with breasts, because now I run marathons, I do other things. I've evolved into something better without them.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the acceptance comes from, because you're never going to look back if you've become something bigger and you've evolved, because now I never ran marathons when I had boobs.
That's interesting.
So now I can say, well, I'm a marathon runner and I haven't got boobs. So that's something that's where the acceptance comes from, and that's what I try to empower in women and men, is if you become something better.
So, and originally, when you had the mastectomy, you chose to have a double mastectomy, and your surgeon did suggest having a reconstruction as well. So it was considered at some point that you could have a reconstruction of some sort?
Oh, yes. And it's not pushed, but it's the kind of... In the research, the negative impact of not having breasts in society will affect a woman. And that's the research. That's not the surgeon saying it's come from research. And I sat in the surgeon's office and I thought, where is that coming from? Is that coming from a stigma? Is that coming from society? Where is that coming from? And I realised that it was kind of like looking at two different people. So this is how I was when I was diagnosed, and I felt the pity. I wanted to hide. I couldn't get used to this body because it was devastating. You're grieving the loss of a person. You're grieving. It took 6 months of just emotions up and down. And I thought, this is where you feel the pity, because the pity is kind of coming from you. And now I'm this, and I've become this, and I've evolved. There's no pity there. And then that sort of sparks out into the surroundings, and the stigma starts to go away. So it kind of comes from you initially, and I just wanted to let's change perceptions of mastectomy scars. Let's change that.
And can we talk about your diagnosis as well?
Yeah.
Because you almost didn't... Well, you got wrongly diagnosed, and then they finally found it when you persisted and went back for another check.
Yeah, that was a real shock because I'd struggled with health anxiety most of my life.
Right.
Whereas the irony of that is literally like you constantly feel like there's something wrong with you, you might have some disease, and you haven't. It's just the way your mind works. And that's why I started running, because the running tricked my mind into saying, well, there can't be anything wrong with you, Louise, because you're running. No. And it's kind of like tricking yourself. So I was like doing all these runs. And then I was like, well, if I can keep running and just, you know, just doing that, then that's great. And that's when I started training for the virtual London Marathon. But the health anxiety was a little bit there. So I went and I got a private mammogram just to make sure I was all right. No symptoms, nothing. And because obviously you don't get called up on the NHS till a certain age. And I went for the mammogram and it was clear.
Which is the news you want to hear as well.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to go, oh, great,
yeah.
this is great, this is what I want to hear.
It was clear, and I was like, right, OK, I've got this confidence now. What I'm going to do now is have this really good self-check in the shower, because I did self-check, but I think I just had that confidence to go a little bit further in and really check, because you're always a bit worried that you're going to find something. Yeah. So I literally had a delve, and there was a tiny little bit of a thickening on the left side here, where you can see, like, the dent. And I wasn't worried, but I went to the doctors, and she wasn't worried. But because she wanted me to have peace of mind, she sent me to the breast clinic. They did an ultrasound and found 5 abnormal areas.
I mean, you were very lucky as well to catch it.
Yeah, and there was 5 centimetres. 5 centimetres of lobular breast cancer. Now, lobular is in the lobules, what produce the milk, and it doesn't have the protein that sticks it together and forms the mass, which is what's seen on the mammogram.
So it's not more of a tumour, it's more of a kind of a web.
Yeah, like a web, and that's why it grows quite in and out of the breast tissue and is not seen. It wasn't even seen properly on the MRI scan.
So thank goodness you persisted.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't be here, potentially.
Yeah.
How have your family reacted, though, Louise? Because it's one thing for you to be super empowered and come in and we can see the energy in the life that you have. But it is still quite disarming to see somebody sitting topless on our sofa and interviewing you as courageous and as brave as you are. Yeah,
I mean, the thing is that's the thing. It's not a shock tactic, but it is. It's not something you see, is it? It's not something you see. My family are very supportive. They kind of know that I kind of think outside the box. I have most of my life. And I just kind of go around things a little bit differently to other people, so they're not really shocked. But yeah, and I do think that's what I like to spark. I like to spark the discussion, even if it's negative, because to me that's valid. Yes. Because people's perceptions are different, and you've got to get it out there to get discussed. I mean, even comments I get on my social media, it's usually the one about the testicles, and that's, well, if I'd have testicular cancer, should I run around now without pants? Well, how does that work? Because there's still bits dangling around, and it's not genitalia, is it? No. And that's the thing. Another thing it brings up is, what are breasts? They're not genitals. They're not sexual. They've been sexualised. And that's where we're talking. Men run around topless. I have no breasts. There's no nipples. What are you asking me to cover up?
Do you get a bit of criticism then at times from people about the fact that you're running topless?
Yes, because it's quite shocking, isn't it? And that's what I wanted to show. And the thing is, a lot of people say as well, you're going to traumatise children. My children, my 5-year-old wanted to see my scars. She wanted to see them. She was curious. Child's imagination will run wild unless if you hide.
They hate the unknown.
And that's when they start making things up in their head. So when she actually saw them, she was like, oh, they're all right. They're not as bad as I thought. And that was it.
That's it, and you're done.
And they're gone, and they're off. And that's it. That's all it is. They're just scars.
Well, I think you're groundbreaking, Louise, what you've done.
And you're here today because of them
and we're very proud to have you on the sofa with us.
Thank you.
Very excited for the marathon.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Have you got a time in mind?
Well, I want to do 4.5 hours,
4.5.
we'll see what happens on the day.
Oh, it's going to be emotional.
You know marathons,
Yeah.
and it's never what you plan.
It isn't what you plan.
No.
But if you're going to be on the London Marathon route, do look out for Louise and give her a big cheer.
I think we're going down to the end, actually. We're going to
be
go
down
and
there,
see
yeah.
Joel, so I'll shout
Oh,
for you.
yeah, definitely shout. Oh,
Good
I
luck.
can't wait.
I'll give you
I can't
Thank
Thank
wait.
you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting this morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.